Hello, welcome to our water conservation series. In this video, we'll be talking about ocean and marine animals with Dr. Heather Smith.
My name is Heather Smith, and I'm a biologist, and I mostly have done research on marine mammals, so mostly on whales, but also on some species of seals as well. The research, though, that I've been doing more recently has been using an infrared camera to try and detect marine mammals at sea. So I thought I'd talk about ocean conservation, because that's kind of what this tool is used for. And more specifically, it's helping us to conserve the diversity of life in the ocean. And it's doing that by helping us to protect marine mammals. One of the things that we need to do to protect marine mammals from some of the activities that humans do in the ocean is we need to know when and where marine mammals are present. And so if we know that a marine mammal is present, then we can change our activity so that we can try and avoid injuring or harming or potentially even killing them. So I can give you a couple examples. There are large vessels or ships that are crossing the ocean, and these vessels travel pretty fast compared to a whale. And so sometimes a vessel will collide or crash into a whale, and this can injure the whale or sometimes even kill it. But if the vessels had a tool like an infrared camera system, which could help them detect when marine mammals are out in front of them, then the vessel could choose to slow down or sometimes also change the direction that it's headed in order to avoid the marine mammals. Another example where this tool could be useful is with activities that produce a lot of noise that goes into the ocean. If the people that are involved in making this noise knew that marine mammals were close by, so if they were able to use an infrared camera system to help them detect marine mammals, they could choose to stop that activity until the marine mammals had left the area and were a safer distance away. So I'm going to talk about how climate change is impacting the oceans in the Arctic. The most obvious change that we're seeing up in the Arctic is that there's now less sea ice. And then the ice as well is different. So the ice now is thinner than it used to be in the past. And so this is not great for marine mammals and other marine life. If there's less ice, it means that there's less habitat for these animals. One of the other things that happens when there's less ice in the Arctic, it means that there's also more open water. And if there's more open water, it means that it's more possible for boats to be up there. And so shipping traffic increases. And so this can be good for humans, but with all of this increasing shipping traffic, you have increasing levels of noise in the ocean. In addition, having all of these boats up in the Arctic increases the chances that there might be a fuel spill or an oil spill or something else that would release a pollutant into the environment that could harm the life that lives up there. So ocean acidification means that the ocean in the water is starting to become more acid-like. So fresh water is neutral and it has no acid in it. And that could be compared to something that's more strongly acidic, like vinegar or lemon juice, and those things are kind of sour. That's where that sour comes from, because of the acid. The reason that this is happening is that there's more carbon dioxide in the atmosphere because of activities that people are doing, like burning fossil fuels. And so as the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere increases, there's more carbon dioxide that can dissolve into the ocean water. And as ocean water absorbs carbon dioxide, it becomes more acidic. When acids touch things, they cause a chemical reaction, and people describe this chemical reaction as eating away or dissolving something. We have acidic ocean water, and it's touching things like the shells of clams and oysters or the hard parts of coral reefs, and it's starting to eat away and dissolve those things. And this is a huge problem because it means that these animals, they're not growing as much as they used to, and in some cases they're dying. Coral reefs and clams and oysters are all part of food webs in the ocean. And so when you have one part of the food web being affected, all the other animals and things that are part of that food web are also affected. The good news is that the things that we can do to help reduce climate change are things that can also help reduce ocean acidification. And it all comes down to us trying to reduce the amount of carbon dioxide that's going into the atmosphere. So we can conserve electricity in our homes by turning out the lights or turning off our TVs or our computers or devices when we're not using them. We can choose to wear a sweater, and so that means we're not having to burn as much fossil fuels in order to keep warm. We can make choices about riding our bike or walking somewhere instead of jumping in a car to drive there. We can also make choices about the foods that we eat. And so if we choose to eat foods that come from closer to our homes, then we're not having to rely on transporting them huge distances, maybe across an ocean even, in order to get here. And so that also saves fossil fuels from being burnt and going into the atmosphere. I have two fun facts that I want to share. So the blue whale is the longest known living organism. And the heart of the blue whale is roughly the same size as a small car, which is crazy. The other cool marine mammal fact that I wanted to share was there's a type of whale called a Cuvier-beaked whale, and it can hold its breath for 3 hours and 42 minutes, which is bonkers.
Thank you, Dr. Heather Smith. This was our video on ocean and marine animals. This video completes our series on water conservation.